I'm Nick Geraci with Inven Global, and today I'm joined by Cloud9 support Zayzal after a fantastic win over TSM. That was such an exciting game that you guys were really kind of down a lot of gold early on, right? So, can you tell me what your game plan was coming into that game, and then kind of how did you guys end up adjusting on the fly to come back and end up winning that game in such an exciting fashion?
So our game plan once we saw their draft was essentially like they're going to try to snowball early. We weren't sure if it was going to be Poke Varus, which is much stronger early and doesn't scale, or if it was going to be the on-hit Varus, which actually scales really well. So first we had to wait to see that, and it ended up being Poke Varus. So basically we knew we were likely to be down early game. We didn't know how much or how they would do it, but with Rumble mid especially, we knew that they would be looking to go to one side lane, and they had a winning top lane already. Bottom lane was about even, so it was easier for them to snowball off top. So they intended to do that, and we pretty much just planned by trying to negate as much of their early pressure as we can by matching, and we ended up doing pretty well, but we still ended up losing the fight, our early fights.
Well, something that was like really like integral in you guys coming back was just these like kind of no hesitation, like full committal executions where like Svenskeren on Jarvan, and then like there's a Lux ult, and everything is just happening all at once, almost to the point where like TSM didn't even really get a chance to react, right? Like, so like are those, you guys have been playing together for long enough, but like are those like moments that are fully communicated, or you guys just kind of like, do you just kind of know when Sven's gonna go in? You're like, all right, let's do this. I'm setting this up. Like, what is that dynamic like when you guys are kind of making those big plays as a team?
I think with all of our engagers, generally you just have to be ready. We all trust each other's engages, so as soon as someone goes on our team, we will all go. And I think whenever we falter as a team, it's because like you can see we're not going in on those engages. And I think it's a good example of why it's so powerful. Like today we were down so much gold, but we all trust Svenskeren and his eye for engages and just in general how he looks for them. So we knew that as soon as he goes in, we full commit. We don't back out. There was one fight where we ended up having to back out, but like we still full committed on it. It was the one at red side where they ended up surviving our Jarvan engage and they got on sneaky. So we ended up backing out of that one, but like we were ready to full commit, and I would say the natural instinct is to go. It's not a communication thing. It's like Dennis is gonna say, I might look if they go down mid here, and then he just goes, and then we're all ready to follow up immediately.
So with that kind of like you guys are sort of like in a split second, you guys are all on the same page in playing with Kumo, who has been standing in for Licorice, and he's been playing well individually in his own right. But was it hard to get him kind of on that same page of being just so innately ready to just like go crazy like right when you guys do it? Because it works because of the coordination, right?
I think it was rather easy. I mean, he played with Blabber for so long. I mean, our academy team are animals too, so it's not really like a new play style for Kumo. I think he says that it's easier to play with us actually than the academy team, and I think it's much easier for him to understand what's going on with us, because I think we usually have somewhat of a reason for our fights. Our academy team just likes to brawl a lot, and they're very good at it, so I think it was pretty natural for him to fit in on the main team.
Something that Blabber actually told me when he first made his debut last summer was that you were very integral in helping him understand the macro game at the LCS level. He's like, I have like mechanics and I have ideas of my own, but Zeyzal really kind of reined me in and got me understanding how to play that game on that big picture level. Were you able to offer any of the same type of insight to Kumo now that he's had more LCS games under his belt?
Yeah, I would say for Kumo's, even his first debut in Academy was almost entirely like Westrice and I teaching him how to play. Okay. I wouldn't take as much credit as Westrice, obviously, but like I was kind of the one helping a lot of the time, and I think transitioning into him being the LCS top laner, I think he did look to Svenskeren and I for a lot of the information about how he should play, but I think he's actually quite ready on his own, and I didn't have to help him as much as like I had to help Blabber, because Blabber was kind of thrown into it, whereas Kumo had a bit of time to prepare.
Yeah, he really seems like sure of himself in being here. Like, he told us last week, he's like, I feel like I've been ready for a while. I just didn't know when the opportunity would happen, right? And this is so interesting to me because it's striking me consistently. People are telling me that you're very vocal, not just in the game, but like in terms of taking someone under your wing, helping them understand these concepts. Like, what is there something that like is it like an enjoyment thing that you get out of it? Do you feel it's like, well, someone has to be that a leader in that type of way? Like, what about you as a person kind of lends itself to the strength that you have?
I think in general, I'm trying to help my teammates understand the game as well as I can, because I know what it's like to just be almost the least intelligent one on the roster, basically. Like, I've played with really good players. I've played with Licorice, Sneaky, Jensen, and Svenskeren. And obviously, like, I'm the youngest player there, like, not only in age, but in terms of experience.
Okay.
So I understand what it's like to be the one that's kind of, like, left out of the picture, especially because since we do roster swaps at times, you're not getting the same experience that Reaper offers the other players because he's played with them longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easier to catch up if someone's there helping you do it. So I think it's mostly from my own experience that I try to catch them up, and it also helps the team perform better. So I think there's a lot of reasons to do it, but mostly just to not be thrown into the deep end is what I try to avoid having.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Kumo, like you said, kind of got more preparation with that, but it's great that you were there to help him. Is there, we're hoping to see Licorice healthy and return soon, but I think Kumo's performed pretty admirably, all things considered. Is there anything that you want to say to him about his debut with the main team, basically, in LCS?
Yeah, I think Kumo's a great player. I've enjoyed playing with him all the times. I think he's got a unique personality in that he will throw himself in with no regard for his life, and I think that's something that's very integral to the Cloud9 atmosphere. Like, if we're in a fight, you will all in, and we will all die together. That's kind of the idea, and that's the natural instinct, and I think he has it, and I think it's a great fit for our team.